What's going on, Internet? Lambo here in the nerdery, coming to you with another 3D build for my Gloomhaven group's playthrough of the game Gloomhaven. And this time we've got scenario 83, Shadows Within, where I designed a full-on ascension into the altered cultist area. And if you ask me, I think the build turned out pretty hot. All right, let's check out the build. Let's talk about this level. I'm going to try keeping the camera mostly stable for this. Usually I move around and I'm sure it's not as fun to watch. So unless I need to, we're going to keep the camera right there. All right, so first of all, one thing I really love about Scenario 83 and the build process is the levels, the elevation. I get a huge kick out of incorporating elevation into my build. So these risers allow me to do that. Here is what the level is supposed to look like. Right there. So you just got the three main rooms, and I just take that and I ran with it. So I created a stair step starting at the entrance over here, stepping up into the second room, and then going up into the altar room over there. And the other reason it is up is on the third room is to incorporate the fog machine. So if I turn it on, start blowing some fog in there. It's going to start kicking in a second. And there it goes. So you got a game fogger pumping fog up through the altar. And there's also a light down there too, which you saw in the intros. You can't see it from this angle very well, but there is a LED down there, which I can change color and on our remote control. I can do all sorts of stuff. So you can see, if you look underneath, you can see it's green and it's red. I can make it strobe a little bit. Might not show up as well on camera. When you're looking right down the altar, though, looks pretty cool. So anyway, that fog machine is a real, it's right there. That's a real GameFX Fog Monster 2. It's specifically designed for gaming, but I went and looked on their site, and it seems like they may have gone out of business now. So I knew the machines were hard to come by after a while. I caught in on the Kickstarter. So if you can't get that one, I don't know. I'm sure there's other options out there for fog machines for games. And if you ever decide to incorporate fog in your games, I highly recommend it. Just be aware, though, that any pieces that are right down here along the edge around the table, and anything on the table itself, will start to get moist. So we are aware of that, and I would use the fog machine only I wouldn't let it run the whole game, but I would just turn it on, turn off in bursts during the cinematic parts of the level, and the scenario text kind of indicates when it would make sense for the fog to be rolling. But we also knew to kind of pull the cards away and stuff when that was going on. But it looks cool. Love it. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna let that turn off now. So it just runs off a remote here. That's really handy. You can also, I assume, start your car with that or something. Anyway, okay. So in the first part of the scenario, I've got some substitutes for the standees. The hounds here, right there. These guys. All of these are found on my videos where I go over what minis to replace Gloomhaven monsters with. That's just a 3D print off of an Ender 3, even not even resin. But that is a oh, what's his name? I am blanking on it, and I feel terrible. But I will link in the description below the creator of that mini, that file. Then moving on up, we have Cultists. These are Frostgrave, my Frostgrave Cultist, which I really like. That's a standard. And then an Elite Cultist. This is a mini from, it's a D&D Wrath of Ashardalon like set. And those I use for my Elites. And then the skeletons that they summon. These guys summon a lot of skeletons if you have bad rolls. So be aware of that. I use Runewars skeletons. I think they look pretty good. Moving up into the next room, there we have our living spirits, and these are from Cool Mean or Not's Zombicide. Black Plague, one of the expansions, has the living spirits that I really like. So that's my proxy for those. And then moving on into the back room, we have the Flame Demons, and this Flame Demon is my elite. It is just a Reaper Bones giant flame elemental, I think. And then I've substituted out my old Flame Demons that were 3D printed on an Ender 3, starting with these guys. These are Pathfinder Deep Cuts Flame Elementals, Medium Elementals, I believe. And then on their bases don't come like this. I don't think it comes, it might come with just a plain black base. I took a Mod Podge and glooped it on there real good and basically crafted the Mod Podge into flames down there in the base. I've got a full flame base. And then I left a little space there right in the middle where I'm going to put printed numerals on there. Some 3D print, some like 1, 2, 3s and stuff to be looking really good. So I've been trying to slowly upgrade my mini stock from some of the 3D printed stuff I did early on to some newer things. Okay, other things. I'm going to move the camera. So now you're going to start moving. So I'm sorry for the shakiness, but here we go. So if you watched my last video, I talked about trying to incorporate more resin prints into my builds. I'm slowly trying to build up my resin 3D printed stock. So every tile on this build is resin printed, not FDM printed. Now that's not super cost effective. So if you're trying to, if you're getting into 3D printing for, wanting to save money, this is not the way to do it, resin 3D printing. But the detail on these floor tiles is really good. I really like it. Now you can see the layer lines on some of them. I printed them to max out their build, the prints on the build plate. I have a small Epax X1 right now. So like on tiles like that, if you get close, you can see those layer lines. But otherwise, the details are super crisp. And I was able to get 8 tiles per print on one build plate. Printing fairly consistent. Now see there's the light down there, the shaft there. So if we kick on the flame, the game fogger, you'll see the flame start to just billow up through the altar. And right now, let's go. There we go. That looks pretty neat. Okay, now that altar file, that is one I designed in the last year, I think, for the last Kickstarter I did. And I liked it because I made it specially designed to incorporate resin effects. So that's also, or not resin, fog effects. So that's a resin printed altar, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, and then these pillars are also resin. Just to get better detail. Do you need to do resin anything? No, because every wall you see here, all these walls, that's all FDM. And they print out just fine. And only if you really start looking are you going to notice. But at the tabletop level, you're not going to really notice the difference. But I'm trying to create my own fully print resin set to be kind of like the studio's set to really capture the detail. And then I'm not tempted to sell it to somebody else at some point. I want to keep my own resin stuff because I put a lot of effort in printing those. Okay, and then the last thing is the risers. These are scenic risers, a mixture of traditional dungeon scenic risers. And if you picked up the Kickstarter, the Indoor Files Kickstarter, we did castle walls, and so there's some castle risers. Now, some of these, depending on which risers we're looking at, might not have been released because some of these were a mixture of trial tests of different styles, and we have more castle sets to come in future Kickstarter stuff that we're going to do. So I designed a lot of castle stuff, and we created the expansion pack with the base file. So I believe this style of riser was released. There's a 3 hex and a 5 hex. But I don't know if these other risers were released or not. I can't remember. So anyway, stay tuned. I am still designing more terrain. I've got more Kickstarter stuff in the future for new campaigns, if that type of thing interests you. Other than that, these are Toad King castings, bone piles, which I like. I throw them in my dungeons for dressing and stuff. And then, like, weapons racks. That's like a Dungeon Saga weapons rack, and little Herstarts 3D printed, not 3D printed, Herstarts mold boxes. I have a ton of dungeon dressing stuff. The barrel, pretty sure it's a Dungeon Saga barrel. It can't go wrong with dungeon dressing. But yeah, that is my setup for our campaign. Scenario 83, Shadows Within. We lost once, we came back, we beat it the second time. I was finally, after a long time playing, able to retire my first character because I had some insane scenario, character goal of killing a bajillion cultists, I think, and finally did it after this one. I'm very excited. So my Mind Thief, Big Tom the Mind Thief, is retired as of this level. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this walkthrough of this build, and I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one, which is going to be a good one, so stay tuned. I'm pretty excited for this next one. Anyway, happy gaming, happy printing, and yeah, happy all the things. Peace out, Internet.